I got involved in the Adhisthana project because I was a trustee of FWO Central, and around that time Bhante was asked if there was anything he would like, and his one wish was for a memorial library. It went from being a memorial library to a study centre.
When I arrived at Adhisthana, it was maybe about 2 years old. And at that point, most of the work that had been happening had been very practical. They were just setting up all the buildings, the infrastructure, the heating, the water, the landscape.
Adhisthana has this role of a sort of heart or centre of this precious order of movement that we have.
So Sangharakshita had seen the first 4 or 5 years or so of Adhisthana. So establishing his presence here had been really key. And then he died, and that was a very poignant time. It was a very significant time. It was a very pivotal time for Triratna.
That changed the nature of the place. It gave rise to an obvious question about, okay, what does Adhisthana need to do now?
Subhuti started talking about us developing a team of people that could teach here, and a community of teachers that knew Bhante's presentation very well.
Those people who have been lucky enough to have the opportunity to really understand what Bhante was trying to communicate directly from him.
Adhisthana is also following the publication of the complete works, and we're drawing a lot on that material, and that's helping us think about what to teach and how to teach it, and we're trying to create retreats around all of those things.
By the time we got to the 10th anniversary of Adhisthana, I think we were coming through that period of his death, sort of almost getting a sense of what Triratna was now without Bhante, working out our own confidence, our own sense of what Triratna is without the direct, immediate presence of Bhante. The first opening event here would be a meeting of the European Chairs Association. They were so excited they decided to invite presidents and preceptors and order conveners and mitra conveners, and suddenly it went up to total capacity. So 10 years later we planned it again, and we again had people coming from all over the world.
In a way, it was a repeat of the first event that ever happened at Adhisthana, bringing together those who were holding responsibility.
The first evening in the shrine room, I remember just saying, I really want to welcome you all. I really want to thank you all for the responsibilities you hold. And what I'd really love if we, although we all hold different responsibilities, I'd like us all to take our hats off, and I'd like us to even cancel meetings we've arranged. We had a retreat and it was fantastic. We'd been through some years of turmoil in the order, and we'd been dealing with what we've referred to as the controversies. So we'd had ethical issues involving our founder. That had been a really painful period for order members, and people holding responsibilities had done their best to gradually address these issues as much as we could. So I think for me, having that, the lineage holders, the responsibility holders within Triratna, especially having them come from all over the world, having us come together to practice and to rejoice in what we've received and what we hold, that was really special.
One of the emphases of the program was that anyone who felt they had a connection with Adhisthana, that wanted to participate in the 10-year anniversary, would have at least one event that was for them.
Well, one of the qualities that Khemabandhu has is he has a great sense of pilgrimage, and he created this pilgrimage retreat.
We just invited people to come. They could arrive and leave when they wanted. There was a completely optional program of events, and at the same time we ran a 108-hour circumambulation. So for 108 hours there was always somebody each hour circumambulating the burial mound. One thing that really made it extra significant was that Ratnadharini did a walking pilgrimage from Tooting, where Bhante was born.
For us, Bhante is the person who made the Dharma accessible, available. So many of us would not have related to the Dharma if we hadn't come across Bhante's exposition of it. And I love the idea of pilgrimage. I love the idea of mapping out physically, ritually, symbolically, following in the footsteps of somebody. And I remember as I got closer to Adhisthana and the end of the walk, I kind of thought, there might be no one there to meet me. That's fine, that will be fine. As I came in sight of the driveway, there was this bunch of people who were on the pilgrimage retreat, and they got rose petals and they got ice lollies, and it was very, very moving.
She arrived right at the end and was able to, after a good night's sleep, complete the 108 circumambulation by doing the last hour.
So then, a few months later, we get this really big Spanish-speaking retreat happening here.
There were Mexican and Venezuelan women ordained here at Adhisthana, and it was really touching to see for those women who were ordained how significant it was to be ordained here.
And every time something like that happens, we become more of a place where people can just come and know that they're in a place of significance.
We expanded, purchasing a neighbouring property, a new painting of Amitabha. This year we had 2 solitary huts turn up. The College of Public Preceptors laid the first stone for deceased public preceptors. The Indian public preceptors have commissioned a bust of Ambedkar, and that bust now has a dedicated room, the Ambedkar Memorial Room. And then of course there was the new Padmasambhava Rupa. We had the Tri Ratna Day weekend retreat, which was the first event where we invited Sanghas to come and participate, and they would have discussion groups together with a local order member, but participating in a bigger retreat with really experienced teachers. In the shrine room we had interpretation going on into French and German. A definite highlight for me was a ritual that I led. The conditions, the weather, all came into being to create a magical ring of incense.
One retreat that we ran this year was called Communities Past and Present, and it was put alongside another retreat that was running, which was on previous attendees of the Dharma Life course, the residential Dharma Life courses.
A lot of people have lived here over the course of the first 10 years, so we wanted to be able to invite them back to celebrate what they had contributed to.
It was lovely to just introduce them to where we're going and to just have conversations about what we're doing here. In a way, it's just a lot of friendship, isn't it? And shared experience over many, many years.
We had our biggest yet sub-35 festival retreat with 160 young Buddhists coming together.
More and more experienced teachers are being invited to deliver material, give talks, teach meditation. So that's bringing a quality of depth and experience into that situation. It's a lovely sense of sharing the wealth into that generation.
And another large gathering we had was the combined area order weekend. We had nearly 300 order members here. It was run by the Adhisthana teaching community, so it was an opportunity for the Adhisthana teaching community to share with large numbers of the order the collective project.
What we're trying to do is live out Bhante's legacy, live out the lineage of Triratna through friendship, through working together, through practicing the things that he taught, and trying to take all of that much further.
Well, even the very word Adhisthana, it's all to do with lineage. It's a sense of lineage and blessings, not just from the Buddha and the Dharma and the Buddhist tradition generally, but that comes to us through Bhante. I think by the 10th anniversary, that sense of it being a source of blessings and a source of teaching and a source of lineage was very clear and very strong.
I remember Parami, when I was living with her, she used to say, Adhisthana is not a retreat centre, Saddhanandi. It was a bit confusing because we ran a lot of retreats, but I know what she meant. It means Adhisthana really isn't a retreat centre in the normal way. It's got something else that it's trying to do, and that is community building. And it's an international community that we're trying to build.
Our founder, Bhante Sangharakshita, was keen that the movement and order that he founded was an international movement and order. And of course, that presents challenges. It would be great if more retreats were in multiple languages, if we always had, a number of people from other countries living in the community.
We just really want to be able to present different aspects of the movement here at Adhisthana, so that people feel that when they come here, they're getting a glimpse of a movement-wide international community. I mean, it's very interesting, isn't it? Like living at a place and functioning in a place of significance. What does that mean? As I enter Adhisthana, there's this huge stone Buddha Rupa. And the mudra to that Buddha, leave false refuges here. Do not enter with false refuges. And you're entering into a place of magic, of something special, where rainbows happen and community is built and teachings that change your life can be heard. Words of power are spoken. I mean, all Buddhist centres are creating that kind of space. It's not just Adhisthana. It is a wonderful place to live in the midst of that kind of quality of significance and pilgrimage.
It has been a real celebration, and maybe Adhisthana at its best. It's a good start to the next 10 years.